So with the recent release of Feixiao and Honkai Star Rail, I decided to try and build her out since the only character I have ever really tried to build was Kafka, and let's just say, it wasn't good.
Oh! Ew! What the fuck?
Like, at all. But aside from that, I really wanted to make a strong attempt this time at building out Feixiao, to hopefully in the future be able to build other characters as well. So, on September 11th, I opened the game and began my journey. For day 1, I didn't actually have Feixiao yet, so I had to go and pull for her. I got extremely lucky and not only got Feixiao, but I also got her light cone in only 100 pulls, which was amazing. But after that, I mainly just leveled her up as high as I could without grinding at all, and then went to test her out for 2 reasons. The first reason was to see how much damage she did before the 7 days were finished, and the second reason was to see what her abilities and ultimate did so I could find a good team composition that works well with her.
Since she doesn't seem to have an ultimate. Oh wait, she does, but it builds up slowly. Oh, she got one shot.
After checking out her abilities, I decided to pick it back up on day 2. On day 2, I didn't get on for any grinding, and I actually had to look up a couple build guides since I have never really tried to build a character, so I needed a little help. And luckily I found this one lady who was super helpful. Her channel name is Sebi Plays, and her Feixiao build guide was very helpful in getting me set up with the tools I needed to make a strong Feixiao build by myself. The relic set that I decided to build was called the Wind Soaring Valorous set. With 2 pieces equipped, it would give me a plus 12% attack boost, and with all 4 pieces equipped, it would increase my crit rate by 6%, and when a follow-up attack is used, it would increase the damage of my ultimate by 36%, which Feixiao relies heavily on her follow-up attacks to get her ultimate faster, so it was, in my opinion, the best choice. And for the planar ornaments, I chose the Duran Dynasty, which stacks merit when you do follow-up attacks, and the merit stack can be stacked up to 5 times. When it is, it increases your crit damage by 25%, which is also really good since with Feixiao's light cone, she already has a high crit rate. But after I finished researching my items, I looked to find where the relics were and realized I couldn't get any of them since I didn't do a certain storyline, so I hopped off for the night and got on the next day. For day 3, I needed to do the Penacony storyline to get the relic set I was looking for, so I guess we're heading to After hot dropping into Penacony and dying to fall damage, I began grinding the story quest and collecting chests, which I'm sure you're probably wondering, Delta, why did you do the Penacony story earlier? And the answer to that is I wanted to save it for when Robin came back into rotation again, so I could get more Stellar Jade for more tickets. But aside from that, I mostly grinded the story quest, which it was actually really fun. I got to go on a date with Firefly, which then led me to a glorious slot machine, which I lost on because they're obviously rigged. I met up with Sampo, who was apparently there, and then he introduced me to the beauty of drugs. And then finally, Firefly pulled a Rengoku and turned into a donut. And then we also ran into a Transformer named Sam, who is apparently a Stellaron hunter, but they wanted to throw hands, so I folded them like an omelet. But after I made it through a good chunk of the story, I decided to call it a day and would try to get through a bit more of it on day 4. On day 4, I decided to grind up Feixiao a bit more by leveling her up and upgrading her traces and light cone, so I could start using her in my teams more. I also got her a temporary armor set so she wouldn't die instantly and could contribute to the teams I built. After I finished that, I went back to grinding and found out Robin died, which if I had a nickel for every time I saw someone die in Penacony, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's crazy that it happened twice. With that being said, I kept grinding to find the relic set I needed, and we got to learn a bit more about Acheron and Sunday and the truth of what is really going on. But after that, I decided to get off for the night and grind extra long on day 5. On day 5, I didn't have anything planned, so I was going to grind Honkai Star Rail for as long as I could to hopefully find the relics that I was looking for so then I could start farming for the stats I needed. I got to play this really cool Adventurine quest where we needed to explore Penacony to find clues so we wouldn't die to whatever Sunday did to Adventurine. We also got to learn about Aventurine's troubled past while we researched around this really awesome movie set place that had puzzles and minigames I had to solve, until eventually we ended up at a curtain where we then cut back to me, the star of the show. We ended up right where the Adventurine story quest ended off, and it looked like Adventurine was hosting a show until we walked in and saw that he went full monster mode. This also meant that we had to beat him up, and to be honest, this boss was kinda hard for me since none of my characters were really strong or built, so I ended up losing a bit. But once I started using my brain and a tip from a short I made a while ago, I locked in the Ice March 7th, and she helped me keep my team alive while also rolling Adventurine's dice high enough to not get hit by the Scrooge McDuck special. I eventually managed to beat Adventurine after a couple of tries, and I was blessed by this beautiful cutscene after, and to be honest, this one was super freaking awesome. I just had to show you. Ooh.
I wish
Camera's
to
going off
mourn
again.
the departed, weeping like rain, to swell the crossing stream. As the tide arrives, leading you back.
I can't believe I didn't want this character. After watching that cutscene, I kid you not, I am now waiting for when Acheron comes back, and I'm gonna practically throw my wallet at her.
Damn, what is that, bro?
Anyways, Adventurine was stuck in this weird black hole area that was pretty cool, and we got a nice end to his part of the story before my character got thrown right back into the action, and we find out Robin actually never died. Also, we find out Don Hung met this cool space cowboy called Boot Hill, who says a lot of weird things like Muddle Fudger and Son of a Nice Lady. We also got to do a Robin story quest, and it was basically going around the town and talking to people. Nothing too crazy, but it was still pretty fun to do. And it turns out that there were actually two Robins, but the other Robin wasn't Robin. It was actually a 2-foot-tall masked lady who can shapeshift because of, I don't know, reasons. But after that, we went to Party Island, where we got to be on Penacony's very own version of Family Feud. But unfortunately, Steve Harvey caught a bad case of not being in a video game, so he wasn't able to host it this time. Instead, we just fought a bunch of monsters and... Wait. Why do I hear... Oh, please, no. No, not Argenti. Not again. Oh, I'm dead. Like, literally, this is my least favorite boss in the game. After fighting Argenti a couple times, I looked up how to skip the boss fight since the last time I tried to beat Argenti, it took me 2 weeks to defeat him. And I was kind of on a time crunch this time. But turns out if you just plug in the right dialogue options, he just lets you go. So I was able to dodge that bullet. I was also able to make it to the end of the game show where Sunday declares himself God, and I was like, nuh-uh. So we decided to square up at the Grand Theater, where we were able to find ourselves the relics that we needed, so now we could actually grind for our stats. At this point, I grinded Honkai Star Rail for about 6 hours by now, but I could taste how close I was to finishing Penacony's storyline, so I kept pressing forward, and I had to fight these 3 puppet guys who weren't really hard to beat, and to be honest, the final boss also was like super easy, like too easy. And after I thought that, I actually got flashbanged by the fact that everybody apparently died in the Penacony boss fight, which was crazy. But either way, I figured I could finish the story another time because I was going to grind relics and ornaments all of day 6. On day 6, I got on with a good idea of what stats I would be looking for when grinding. I at least needed a 75% crit rate or higher and a minimum of 100% crit damage. I also was looking for attack percent boots and good sub stats on my helmet and gloves. I also decided I would worry about the ornaments once I finished getting all 4 pieces of the relic set I wanted. I spent a while grinding the relics area until I was blessed by Hoyo vs. Jesus and was gifted with not only an amazing chest piece with crit rate, but when I rolled my other items, I got pretty decent substats. Nothing too crazy, but for a first timer, it didn't look awful. After I got all 4 pieces, I kept farming to see if I could fine tune it a bit more, which I was able to luckily, and after I finished that, I went to farm my planar ornaments with the rest of my leftover energy. I didn't have too much left, so after I was all out, I decided to wrap up the ornaments and test out Feixiao on day 7. On day 7, I fine-tuned my ornaments and got myself everything I could have possibly needed to finish building Feixiao. I maxed out the traces, I had the best relics I could possibly farm, and I built a team that would focus on trying to give Feixiao the most damage to maximize her potential. So, I turned off my camera and went to test her out for the first time. The first thing I planned to do was build up the merit stacks and the other stackable stat boosts from Feixiao's traces to maximize her solo potential damage, and then I was also going to add the extra crit damage boost from Sparkle's special ability as well to Feixiao to try and hit the biggest number I possibly could. Once her ultimate charged, the first attempt wasn't crazy strong, but the second one was absolutely incredible. After I saw those damage numbers, all the worries I had about making a bad build for Feixiao melted away, and I felt very proud of myself for completing the challenge. And that's it. The 7 days of me building Feixiao is over. I had a lot of fun, and I definitely want to do it again for maybe Sparkle or Robin next time, so let me know in the comments which one you'd want to see more. Also, we have a Discord server. It's small right now, but we are gaining members slowly, so check the description for the link. Finally, I just would like to say thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.